Okay, gentlemen, we need to talk about something. And ladies, you're probably going to want to send this video immediately to your partners. Truth is, not a lot of people with peens were born knowing how to pleasure the clitoris, otherwise known as the pleasure organ. And that's okay. You're not supposed to magically know. If I'm being honest with you, not even I know, and I have one. The times that I have been with women intimately, I'm not gonna lie, I have been intimidated going down there because I quickly realized that I had no idea what I was doing. And when it comes to pleasuring myself, it still takes me time to figure out exactly what I like, and not only that, but how to communicate that to my partner. All I know is that it takes time, education, dedication, practice, and videos like this that you're about to watch from students of life who are about to pass on their knowledge and experience. So today I'm going to walk you through 3 techniques that I learned through my sex education that actually worked on me, and chances are will probably work on your partners as well. Plus, there's a little bonus tip at the end from me where I'm going to share with you one of my signature moves, so make sure you stick around for that. I really hope that this video is going to help you upgrade your clitoral stimulation skills. And for the purpose of this video, I'm going to refer to the clitoris as the pleasure organ for sensitivity purposes. All of these techniques you can either use through penetration, fingers, or toys. But first, I just want to take a hot second, and if you are new to my channel, I want to say hello, welcome. My name is Ali. I'm a sex education student, and I love sharing all the interesting things I am learning about with you. So on this platform, we have a lot of casual conversations about sex, relationships, and other fun stuff. So if you like it, like, subscribe, do the bell thing, whatever it does, I'm not really sure. And that's that. All right, then let's get into the video, shall we? When we are talking about the female pleasure organ, we are talking about over 8,000 nerve endings in this tiny little organ. And what you see on the outside is just the tip of the iceberg, because there is a whole internal structure of the female pleasure organ that lives inside the body as well. And it is incredibly sensitive. So sometimes direct stimulation can be way too overwhelming and sometimes even painful that it can take away from any pleasure that the woman is trying to receive. Now, this is where tip and technique number 1 comes in, which is called layering. There are 3 different ways that you can do this. The first one is through fabric. So think about keeping those panties on, which by the way, can be really, really hot, or any other kind of fabric that will serve as a barrier to prevent direct stimulation on the pleasure organ, which will allow for a much smoother, much slower buildup. And honestly, again, this is kind of hot because then you can see the fabric, the panties getting a little bit wet, and that can be a huge source of arousal. And then you could either use your hand or a toy, or if she's self-pleasuring, she can use a toy on herself if it's too intense for her to place the toy directly on her pleasure organ. Now, the second way that you can use the layer technique is through the labia. So this is using the inner and the outer lips to serve as a buffer between your fingers or a toy and the pleasure organ. Now, here's a confession. I actually used this technique and I didn't even realize I was using it until I read this information and learned what it's called, which by the way, if you're interested in reading more about this, I'm gonna link the resources below. So yeah, when I self-pleasure, I use my lips to cover my pleasure organ, and it's much more comfortable for me to reach orgasm by doing that. Now, the third way that you could use the layering technique is through the hood. I don't know if any of you have ever actually looked at what the whole thing around the pleasure organ looks like, but the pleasure organ has a little hood. It's like a little piece of skin that hovers over it. So if you actually pull that skin over and again, use that as a buffer between your finger or a toy and the pleasure organ, then that will also help to stimulate the pleasure organ indirectly. I feel like I'm saying pleasure organ too many times. So layering actually gives your partner's body a chance to warm up without feeling too overwhelmed and in pain sometimes. And this can actually lead to stronger O's. Just a reminder here. A lot of people think that pleasure is a one-size-fits-all situation. So you learn one move, you try it on someone, and then you're like, yep, I'm a pro. But then you meet someone new, you try this move, and then you get this awkward smile that screams, please stop. The truth is, every woman's body responds differently. And even with the same woman, what she likes today might not be what she likes tomorrow. Bodies change, moods change, and preferences shift all the time. And speaking of meeting someone new, this fits perfectly into the sponsor of today's video, which is the Wing Girl Method. So let me tell you about my girl Marnie, all right? She has over 1.5 million subscribers on YouTube and is a world-renowned dating expert and the brains behind the science-backed flirting method called the F Formula, which is a flirting guide that has helped thousands of men around the world up their dating game and get the woman that they want. Just like I said at the beginning of this video, not all peen owners are born knowing how to stimulate the pleasure organ. The same thing goes for flirting. A lot of us aren't born with those skills and we need help. And let's be honest, there are a lot of guys out there who are lacking a little bit in the flirting game and can use a little bit of help. It's basically a no BS blueprint that teaches you how to flirt, connect, and read a woman's signals without coming across as too pushy or awkward. So it's not just about pickup tips, it's about understanding the attraction from her perspective. And what I love about it is that it's not teaching you how to fake anything. If anything, it's helping you try to lean more into yourself and help you notice the little cues that she's already giving you and how to respond in a way that actually makes her feel comfortable and maybe a little turned on. And because the Wing Girl Method is sponsoring my video today, they are giving you, my viewers, an unbeatable deal. Just click the first link in the description below and get an exclusive preview of the F Formula completely for free. And if you decide to join the program, you will also get a bonus 20% off. So if you're tired of failing at flirting and getting stuck on the sidelines, stop wasting your time. Just take control of your dating life. So click on the link in the description below and get access right away. Now, let's talk about technique number 2 that you can actually use during penetration, and this is called rocking. Instead of doing the usual thrusting in and out, often what we see that happens in porn, try staying deep inside her and just gently rocking your pelvis. You can even wrap your legs around each other to create more pressure on the pleasure organ externally. So for example, if she's lying on her back and you're doing missionary, you're on top of her, get her to wrap her legs around you so she's pulling you in more, which is creating more pressure on her external area, which is stimulating her a lot more. And again, no thrusting, just stay deep in there and rock the pelvis very slowly. So I actually discovered this one by accident. I had never orgasmed before in missionary position because I was just always used to like a thrusting motion. And then to my surprise, when Gab and I started seeing each other, Gab is my partner, he would do this. He would go on top of me missionary style and he would stay deep in and he would just rock. And then to my surprise, poof, the orgasm happened and it was wild. I couldn't believe it. I must say for myself, not for everybody, it has been hard to recreate that. It's almost like it came those few surprise times and went. Not to say that it's gone forever. I think we just need to practice and do it a little bit more. But I was pleasantly surprised when it did because it was the only times that has ever happened to me with that one partner. But that subtle rocking motion gave me the exact kind of friction that I needed down there. So moral of the story, less pounding and more grinding. All right, the third and final technique is called broadening. So instead of focusing on the exact spot of the pleasure organ, like you're about to shoot a dart into a bullseye, expand your touch to the surrounding area. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, the little ball that you see, the little bean that you see down there is just the tip of the iceberg. And there's a whole internal structure that you can also simultaneously stimulate. This can include the pubic mons, the labia, and even the lower abdomen. So broad stimulation can wake up more of that network and make direct clitoris play feel even better later on. So what you want to do is get the vulva to press against something wide, or get something wide to press against the vulva. This way you are stimulating the entire neighborhood, not just the little external part that you see, but that whole network that is inside the body that you don't see. So there are a few ways that you can do this. If you plan on using your fingers instead of using one directly on that little bean, that can be a little bit too direct, a little bit too stimulating, and maybe even painful. Try to use at least 3 fingers so you cover a little bit more surface area. I can definitely vouch for this one because once again, I do this when I self-pleasure and I didn't even realize it. So when I self-pleasure, I actually often use 4 fingers to go down on myself instead of just 1. And it really makes a difference. I never use 1 finger. I always use 4, and I really go around the entire surface and not just directly on the little bean itself. So another tip, if you plan on using toys in your partner play, so for example, a vibrator or a magic wand, instead of placing the tip of the vibrator or the wand directly on the pleasure organ, again, that can cause discomfort if it's too much direct stimulation, try pressing up against the vulva with the side of the toy. And that way you're going to be activating the entire internal structure, which will then allow for more direct stimulation later on because your body has had a chance to warm up a little bit. And again, I can attest to this one because when I do use my magic wand, I definitely use the side of it and, place it all around my vulva and not just on the tip. And finally, if you're going to use a tongue instead of using the tip, just use the whole thing. Wide area, get the whole surface area nice and stimulated, all right? Now, at the beginning of this video, I said that I had a bonus tip for you all, and I actually have 2, and this is based off my personal experience. So again, I'm speaking for myself, and I'm sure that this could be applied to other women as well, but always make sure you have these conversations before and, ask your partner if this is something that maybe they're interested in trying. So, the first one is when I'm on top and the peen is either too large or too erect, sometimes it gets in the way of me having a pleasure organ orgasm. So a little bit softer can actually be better because it gives me more rubbing opportunity against the base, again, broadening the area without feeling like I'm being lifted off of it. So guys, don't take it personal if your partner sometimes wants a little less hardness in certain moments. It's just a different route to the same amazing destination. And the second one is a signature move of my own, which I talk about in one of my videos on how to make head pleasurable for her. I'll link that video at the end of this one. I call it the Shin Symphony. And when your woman is going down on you and you're lying on your back, instead of her just kind of being in the middle of your legs, she can straddle your shin. She'll still get a good angle in terms of performing oral on you, but she'll be able to press that hard bone from your shin up against her vulva, and she'll be able to grind on it at the same time, causing some really great stimulation and possibly an O. So this is something that I like to do. Again, if you want to try any of these tricks, make sure that you communicate with your partner and ask them what they're into, because no woman is the same. We all experience pleasure differently. That's including you as well. And speaking of different women, if you are interested in meeting some woman and you're having a little trouble in the dating game and, with your flirting situation, then don't forget, I got you covered, all right? Because Marnie, the Wing Girl Method, who's sponsoring this video, has her science-backed flirting method called the F formula, which is designed to help you meet the woman that you deserve, to elevate with you, to date you, to sleep with you, to be with you. So make sure you check out the first link in the description below. Don't forget, you will get an exclusive preview of the F formula completely for free. And if you decide to join the program, you will get 20% off. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope you learned something from it to up your pleasure organ game. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, friends. Also, don't forget to check out my Patreon. I will also link it below. Bye. Je vous aime.